We are streaming live on YouTube right now on the Sky Sports News channel. Hello to all of you watching us on there. Dave, Emma and Mark are back, as well as Kevin, and it could be a very busy 24 hours. Well, it will be. In fact, for Manchester United too, we're awaiting confirmation of Anthony. We know a fee has been agreed. There could also be a new right-back coming in. And, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo's future remains unresolved. Right, OK, Kevin, there's not long to go now in this window. With Cristiano Ronaldo, what might happen between now and then?
It's about making the numbers work. It's always been about that, but it's increasingly clear that he's not a player that Erik ten Hag relies upon. That makes sense when you look at what ten Hag is trying to do in terms of getting speed in that front line, in terms of working hard without the ball. And actually, if you look at their wins against Southampton and Liverpool, it's all been about that work rate without the ball. So there aren't too many landing spots for him, really. You look at clubs like Bayern, who have said no, Milan and Inter, it didn't really work for them. He's been linked consistently with Napoli, but it kind of shows where he's at right now, that you've got a legendary player, there's no question about that, but a club like Napoli that have made some smart signings in attacking positions, they'd have to judge whether it would be worth upsetting the entire team and the fabric of the team to bring him in, because players obviously aren't going to play, everything goes through him, so clubs have got big decisions to make.
It's fascinating how we've got to this, because we think it was a year ago this week that we were sitting on these shows and Cristiano Ronaldo,
our minds were blown.
It was returning to Old Trafford, and you know, when he arrived there, he was saying, I'm going to bring a first Premier League title since 2013, we're going to make the latter stages of the Champions League, and now a year on, and it's just gone a little bit sour there, hasn't it? It seems like he's going to end up staying at Manchester United. I think is probably maybe the outcome that we think we're going to get to.
He would want to go, I think. I mean, there's been talk that he wants to play for a Champions League club. It's very important to him to kind of preserve and extend that Champions League legacy. He wants to score more goals. He's already the record scorer in the competition. That's why I always felt a move to Sporting might make sense in a romantic way, go back to where it started, of course. But again, you're talking about the finances, you're talking about Ruben Amorim, who's a very, very good coach at Sporting. Does he make the decision to bring back Ronaldo, and then the entire narrative is all about him? If he's playing, it's about him. If he's not playing, it's about him. So it makes it quite tricky.
I mean, we had an excellent guest on yesterday who was talking about the possibility of Ronaldo going to Atletico Madrid, but the reason he was saying that is because of this supposed clause in the Antoine Griezmann contract. What he said was he plays a certain amount of minutes for Atletico, and that means they've got to pay 40 million euros to Barcelona, which they don't want to do, in which case they want to get rid of him before the deadline, and that creates space in the wage bill for Ronaldo. Just on that Griezmann clause, what is it that you understand it to be, and what are Atletico Madrid saying?
So it is to do with how many games in which he plays at least 30 minutes. And it seems to be no coincidence that he's been coming on in the 62nd minute or the 65th minute, or, you know, that kind of region of games. He scored the winner as a substitute against Valencia at the weekend. Diego Simeone was very evasive when he was asked about it. He said, look, it's not about the quantity of minutes, it's about the quality of minutes. And Atletico haven't denied it, but they haven't backed it up either. But it's not a satisfactory situation for Griezmann going forward, because, of course, he wants to be a central figure for France at the World Cup later this year. So, you know, there's going to have to be some kind of resolution somewhere, whether he moves on or Atletico decide that they are going to pay it in the fullness of time. There's going to have to be a solution somewhere, because he won't be happy otherwise.
Am I right in saying that you have a big soft spot for Griezmann?
Yes. I've always loved him as a player. I think he's incredibly hardworking. I think people look at the flair and they look at all the kind of silly stuff he does off the pitch and kind of around the pitch, all the celebrations, the glitter that we had at Barcelona and all that stuff. But actually, you've got an incredibly good player who works ever so hard, who I think has been a massive part of what France have done in the last few years. I think he's a terrific player who's still got a lot to give.
And the good thing about him as well is he's been very outspoken off the pitch. He's not afraid to give an opinion and show support and show his colours in terms of, you know, doing what's right.
Yeah, he's a big character. He's a big character. He's spoken openly about social issues. He has done things away from the games that have let him down, you know, now and again, and he's apologised for those. But on a pure football sense as well, I still think a terrific player, technically brilliant. You look at some of the goals he scored, great awareness of what's around him. I thought it would go better at Atletico. I still think it could, but the difficulty for him is that the partnership that's blossomed so far for Atletico is Joao Felix, who they paid a huge amount of money for, and Alvaro Morata, who suddenly ended up back at Atletico, having been at Juventus, couldn't make the numbers work for him to go there, and he's making the best of it. So at the moment, Griezmann wouldn't be getting in that team at the moment.
Yeah, and that potential clause, it just shows how complicated some deals are when one person might say, the deal costs this much, no, it costs that much. That's how complicated it could be.
Especially if it's Barcelona.
Well, yeah, good point. Talking of which, Serginho Dest to Manchester United. How good a deal would that be for them?